I start the lecture? Okay. Friends, today we'll be studying Unit 8, Population Change in India. So population change is the difference in the size of population between the end and beginning of a given time period. Usually the time period is considered as 1 year, and the difference in the size of the population on 1st January of 2 consecutive years. That we call it as a change. Population change has two components, my dear friends. One is natural population change, and the other one is net migration. Natural population change is the number of live births minus the number of deaths, whereas net migration is the number of immigrants minus the number of emigrants as the international migration is closed. So the number of people who have migrated to the other nation and the number of people who came into our country, then we are going to see that, and we are going to calculate the net migration, my dear friends. A positive population change will result can be the result of net migration plus live births minus deaths in which is positive. It is referred to as population growth, and a negative one is called as a population decrease. The crude rate of population growth is the ratio of total population growth during the year to the average population of the given area. So we need to study about the changes in population, so that because it's going to affect the size of population, it may be because of health, it may be because of various factors, and it's the duty of the government to address all these issues, my dear friends. Now let us discuss about population change measures. How are we going to calculate it? Population change has three components, my dear friends, namely birth, death, as well as migration. As people are born, or people die or move from one area to the other area, at the time it may lead to the population change or the change in the composition. Throughout most of the human history, we have observed that world population has increased very, very slowly. But during the 20th century, the growth has been accelerated like anything, my dear friends. So the basic method which we are going to employ to calculate the numerical population change over time is given by P1 minus PO. P1 is the initial population and PO is the population after the time. We represent it as PO, which is equal to bracket births minus deaths. B minus births are represented by B and death is represented by D. So B minus D plus I means people who came into our country minus people who have migrated from our country to the other country. Using this formula, we can calculate the population change, my dear friends. P1 minus PO is equal to bracket in bracket B minus D plus in bracket I minus E, my dear friends. Using this formula, we can calculate the change in the population in during a specific period of time in a specific geographical area. Natural increase is nothing but the surplus of births over deaths in a population in a given period of time. So we call natural increase NI is equal to B for births minus deaths, my dear friends. By using this formula, we can calculate the natural increase of the population in a geographical area over a given period of time. Then what is the rate of natural increase? In order to know the natural rate of this natural increase, like we have the formula R rate of NI, natural increase, which is equal to births minus deaths, B minus D by divided by total population into K, where K represents 1000, my dear friends. So NI is equal to births minus deaths divided by total population into K. So using this formula, my dear friends, we are going to get the data about the rate of natural increase of population in a geographical area. Now, how do we calculate the growth rate? Growth rate is nothing but the rate at which a population is increasing or decreasing in a given year to natural increase and net migration, my dear friends. So growth rate is equal to births minus deaths plus net migration divided by total population into K. Births minus deaths plus net migration divided by total population into multiplied by K. So using this formula, we can see the growth rate, whether it's increasing or decreasing, my dear friends. The average rate of population growth over some extended time period can be calculated if the population size at the 2 points in a time are known. This is the best done by using the exponential growth formula. If you're going to have the average rate of population growth at uh, different periods at the time, we can calculate them easily. So the exponential growth is calculated using the formula Pn is equal to POE where Pn is the population at a time n, PO is nothing but the population at time O. So we are going to take the population at two different intervals, like, and n is the number of years, n is the number of years, r is the natural rate of growth, and e is nothing but base of natural logarithm. So by using this formula, my dear friends, we can calculate the exponential growth of population at a particular time. Now let us see the doubling time. Growth expressed as a percentage is not very descriptive for many purposes. A more vivid way of showing population growth is to calculate how long at its current growth rate a population would take to double in size. So a country with a constant growth rate of 1% would double its population in about 70 years, at 2% in 35 years, at 3% in 23 years, and so on. A simple way to approximately doubling time is to divide 70 by the growth rate expressed as a percent. Rule of 70 is equal to doubling time, which is equal to 70 divided by R percent. For example, the growth rate of the population is 2.8% per annum or per year. The population of the country would double in 70 divided by 2.8, which is equal to 24. So this way we can calculate the doubling time, my dear friends. So 70 divided by what is the percent, my dear friends? If you know the percentage, how the population is increasing annually, and divide it by 70, then you're going to get the doubling time, my dear friends. So this doubling time cannot be used to project future population size because it assumes constant growth over decades, whereas the growth rate may change. It may depend on multiple factors like famines, droughts, wars, and so on. There are multiple things which are going to affect the growth rate of the population, my dear friends. It's only an assumption. We cannot simply say that the same thing will happen across the country or across the world, my dear friends. Now let us see demographical transition. Demographic transition refers to the change that population undergoes from high rate of births and deaths to low rate of births and deaths. Historically, high levels of births and deaths have kept most population from growing rapidly because the birth rate was higher. At the same time, the death rate was higher. So people used to think that there must be someone to take care of us. So they started giving birth to more children. That may be one of the reasons for rapid growth of population. In fact, many populations not only failed to grow, but also completely died out when the birth rate did not compensate for high death rate. Death rates eventually fell as living conditions and nutrition improved. The decline in mortality usually precedes the decline in fertility, resulting in population growth during the transition period. Recent evidence has shown that India too is following a pattern, but with a late beginning and slower pace. The death rate has come down after 1920s, but the birth rate remained high to 1960s, opening a gap of constant population growth. The gap seems to have narrowed down during the last decade because the birth rate also slowly or gradually declined, my dear friends, which has also decreased the size of population. Now let us go beyond the demographical transition. In the fifth stage, in the previous classes, we have discussed that there are 5 stages where the birth rate was higher, death rate was higher. Later on, the birth rate was almost constant, but the death rate came down. Later on, the birth rate and death rate slowly tried to come down, like we have studied this. there is a fifth stage to the demographical transition where fertility falls to very low levels and stays there for a protracted period. A slow rate of population growth can turn into a negative one because many developed countries now have total fertility rates TFR below the replacement level out of about 2 children per woman. By the late 1990s, several countries have also seen their TFR total fertility rate sinking down to 1.3 or even less than that, my dear friends. The experience to date shows that declining fertility may drop below replacement levels and remain very, very low, my dear friends. So these countries need to address the issue of low fertility rate and unprecedented aging. But incentives for couples to have children have resulted in infrequent success. The present population of Japan could be reduced by one fourth by mid century if the current rate continues. Even in the previous class, we have discussed about the Scandinavian countries. Like some of the countries, they started motivating the people to come into their countries and they started giving green cards for them because the dependent population is huge and even the incentives or benefits could not replace their native population, my dear friends. Now, let us see the historical perspective. If you see in the history, my dear friends, during the hundreds and thousands of years, the world population, it took a lot of time to reach 1 billion population. In about 1800, at this time, at this point of time, the death rate fell down, which has given rise to the huge population. World population reached 2 billion and it took 130 years. And from 1800 to 1930, it has become 2 billion. It passed 3 billion mark with only 30 years. From 1930 to 1960, we have seen that the world population has been increased to 3 billion. And within a span of 14 years, by 1974, it has been almost increased to 4 billion, my dear friends. In the year 1987, the world population has reached 5 billion. And within a span of hardly 12 years, it reached 6 billion. And it took only the 7 billion mark is expected. At the time, it was expected that it will reach by 2011, my dear friends. It took very, very less time. And there are projections that in the year 2020, it was projections like if we are going to have a medium variant, then it is projected that we are going to have 7,577,889 thousands of population with a medium growth. And with the highest rate, it is going to become 7,873,172,000 population by the year 2020. It is projected that by 2050, with a medium variant, it becomes 9,075,903 of population with a medium variant. And if it is going to be higher rate, then it happens 10,646,311 of population with high variant, my dear friends. This was projected by the United Nations, my dear friends. Now, if we go for the population size and change, the world population reached an estimate of 7.6 billion in 2017 and is expected to become 11 billion by 2100. Currently, the global population is growing at the rate of 1.2% per year by approximately adding 83 million people every year to this world. The global growth rate is expected to decline to about 0.5% by 2050, driven by a continuing decline in levels of fertility. If the fertility rate comes down at the time, the decline rate will be hardly 0.5% only by the time we reach 2050. While the population of high-income countries is projected to grow only slightly, rising from 1.2 billion in 2017 to only 1.3 billion by 2050. The population of middle-income countries will grow by almost a quarter from 5.7 billion to 7.1 billion of population. And if we see the low income countries with the combined population, it is going to be double, like from 0.7 billion to 1.4 billion, my dear friends. So we see that the so-called developing countries or underdeveloped countries, the chances that they may have huge population explosion in the coming years. So the population growth is projected to be largest and most rapid in countries. So if we are going to have more growth, then the nations need to face the challenges like poverty, hunger, ensuring health for each and every individual, taking care of providing educational facilities, and providing equality for all. These will be the challenges for the countries with huge population or with huge population growth, my dear friends. Now, let us see some of the population projections in the regions in the world. If we see in the world, my dear friends, across the globe, like in the year 1970, it was 3,701. But by the year 2100 year, it will be 11,184. Already we have discussed like the population is going to increase. It is going to become almost 11 billion. Like right now, it is during 1970s it was 3 billion, which is going to increase to 11 billion. And if we see in Asia, during 1970s, the population was 2 billion, 2.138 billion, whereas it is going to be projected that it becomes 4 billion, 4.78 billion by the year 2100. If we see in Asia, it is almost being double during this span of time. And if we see North America, it is 231, whereas it is going to become 499, my dear friends, 0.2 billion. Now let us see the population change in India. Indian population has increased from 238 million in 1901 to 1,210 million in the year 2011. The pace was slow up to 1921, with some decline during the decade of 1911 to 21, but picked up after that and accelerated after 1951, with decadal increasing rate of 2%. During the period of 1961-91, the percentage, the growth has been accelerated at 2% per annum. Some slowing down of the pace was noticed after 2001 census, with the decadal growth still over 20%, but the annual rate falling marginally below 2% mark, my dear friends. The census of 2011 has shown a clear fall to a decadal growth of 17.6% and the annual rate of 1.62%, my dear friends. In fact, the growth rate, not just the growth rate, but the absolute increase has also shown a decline from 182 million during 1991 to 2001 to 181 million during 2001 to 2011, my dear friends. Now, let us see the population change against the age structure. Population aging can be illustrated by tracking trends in the number of persons or the proportion of the total population in different age groups. In 2017, about 61% of the world's population was in the age group of 15 to 59. So these people are going to be productive people, like they will be engaged in some or the other economical activity, and they are going to contribute to the economical growth of the world. While about 26% were under 15 years and 13% of the people are above the age of 60 years. So these people combine 26 as well as 13%, altogether 39%. They are the dependent population, my dear friends. A larger part of the increased share at age 60 and above is attributed to the increased share at ages 80 and above, which is expected to increase from 1.8 to 4.3% of the world's total population. This age group is growing faster than any younger age group. The population pyramid in India was wide at the bottom, narrowing steep over age some time ago. By 2001, there occurred clear shrinking of low ages with the bulge moving upward, suggesting recent fall in fertility. If we see, there is a lot of decline in the age group of 0 to 4 years and in the age group of 5 to 9 years, my dear friends. The broad age group of 15 to 59, generally labeled as working ages, has gained over last 8 points during 1971 to 2001, from 52% to 60.5%. And if we see, it has been increased to 54.6% to 63.6%, my dear friends. The old age, that means people who are above the age of 60 and above, has also gained, but only marginally, from 6% to 8.6% in India, my dear friends. Aging has begun to occur in India, but at the moment, only just so. A positive consequence of the change in the age distribution is that the dependency ratio has fallen from 92% to 65%. That means the people who are in the age group of 15 to 64 um, is slowly decreasing from 84% to 57%, my dear friends. The results of 2011 census has revealed that the share of the age group fell from 16% in 2001 to only 13% in the age group in the year 2011. It is just because of the decline in the fertility rate, my dear friends. Now, let us see the population change towards regional variation. There are uh, there are large variations in the timing and pace of change, and consequently, we find differences in population growth. UP has become the largest state or the state with a huge population. As per 2011 census, we find 200 million, my dear friends, followed by Maharashtra and Bidar, each exceeding 100 million people. The Union Territory, Lakshadweep, is the smallest with a population below 100,000. Like growth has occurred in all the parts of the country, but not uniformly. Delhi and Chandigarh have, as expected, larger rates of increase than others. On the other hand, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu have grown a relative lower pace, my dear friends. The decade of 2001 and 11 has exhibited vast differences in the rate of growth among large states. It has varied between a mere 0.47% in Kerala to 2.24% in Bihar. A consequence of the interstate variation in growth rates is that shades of the state in India's population have changed since 1901. UP and Tamil Nadu have lost 2 to 3%, and Assam, Gujarat, Maharashtra have gained more than 1 point, my dear friends. Now, let us discuss about demographic dividend. The share of working ages would rise from some time, reaching a peak of 65% for the people who are in the age group of 15 to 59 before being beginning to decline. This bulge in working ages yields the demographic dividend, a situation in which the working age population is very well over 60% and the dependency ratio is low, my dear friends. This would be available for some time, the period of window of demographic opportunity through the first half of the century and for some time after that. A consequences of India's staggered fertility transition is that the window of demographic opportunity would be open in different regions during different times of period, my dear friends. Therefore, India will not draw a high dividend at any point of time. Now, let us see the implications of this population change. The variations in the level of fertility, mortality, and changes in this have implications for regional population growth and demographical dividend. The growth would vary by states. States have already achieved replacement level fertility. Already it has got the momentum. Kerala and Tamil Nadu would not grow much. On the other hand, uh, population in Bihar, UP, Rajasthan are likely to be doubled during the first half of the century. These states and many other states like Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chandigarh, and some small states would grow because fertility is yet to reach replacement level, my dear friends. Now we have studied here about the population change, my dear friends. Now let us go for the next lesson, migration, because migration is going to play a vital role in terms of changing the population composition, my dear friends. What is this migration? Migration is nothing but movement of people from one place to the other place. Why people move? Because they may move because of geographical factors, economical factors, social factors, and demographic factors. So there are multiple factors which may contribute for this migration of people from one place to the other place. Migration is regarded as one of the most important demographical variable which influences the population distribution. It is not a new concept, my dear friends. Even in the history, my dear friends, we have seen the movement of people or the movement of groups from one place to the other place. The invention of agriculture and the birth of civilization resulted in new innovating forms of migration. The movements of people led to cultural dispersion. And we also have seen the assimilation of different cultures too. And we also saw that some of the weaker cultures have been simply merged with the stronger or the dominant culture, or they have simply vanished off, my dear friends. Most of the migrants in past have been due to invasions, movement of traders, prisoners, and so on. And the 19th century and the later period was characterized by free individual migration. That means no one has forced them. Based on the will and wish, people have migrated from one place to the other geographical area, my dear friends. Now, let us see how do we measure the migration. If we see in page number 108, 9.3.1, crude in migration rate. That means number of people migrating into our country. Immigration, IMMI. The crude in migration rate is the number of people arriving at a destiny for every 1,000 persons at that destiny in a given year. So CIMR, crude in migration rate, CIMR is equal to I by P into K. I is nothing but the number of people came into our country. Okay. P is nothing but the population during the mid-year in an area. Okay. If it is like, if you are going to calculate it from Jan to December, then we are going to take the mid value like June 30 or 31st. Okay. Population at the time. What is the population during the mid-year in an area? And K represent K is equal to 1,000. So by using this formula, CIMR is equal to I divided by P into K. By using this formula, we can calculate the crude in migration rate. And if you want to see how many people have migrated from our country to the other parts of the world, at the time we are going to use the formula CER, crude out migration rate. We also, instead of using out migration, we call it as emigration, EMIGRATION. C, emigration rate. Coming inside, we call it as IMMI. People going outside, export like going other side, we call it as emigration. So CER is equal to 0 divided by P into K. Sorry, O divided by P into K. CER is equal to O divided by P into K, where O is nothing but the number of people have gone outside from our country to the other area, and P is nothing but the population of the area during the mid-year in that country, and K is nothing but 1,000, my dear friends. So using this formula, we can also see how many people are migrating from our country, from one nation to the other nation. Who are coming into our country, we call it as immigration, and who are going outside, we call it as emigration. So crude net migration. So people, how many are migrating to the other country and how many people are coming to our country? I want to study this. We call it as crude net migration rate. So it is represented by crude net migration rate, CNMR. Crude C, net N, migration M, rate R. CNMR is equal to total in migrants minus total out migrants. In migrants is represented by I. Out migrants, people who are going from our country to the other country because they are going outside, it is represented by O. I minus O divided by total population during the mid of the year into 1,000. By using this, we are going to calculate the value crude net migration of the people from a particular country, my dear friends. And if you want to know the gross migration rate, crude gross migration rate, CGMR is equal to total migration coming into our country and plus people who are going outside from our country. Here we are going to do plus I plus O divided by total population during the mid year into K, which is equal to 1,000. So using this, my dear friends, we are going to calculate the crude gross migration rate, my dear friends. Now we will go for the vital statistics methods. The method which is used for balancing equation to get an estimate of migration. Okay, we are going to use M is equal to P1 minus PO in bracket minus B minus D, where M shows net migration, P1 shows population at later census. For example, right now we don't have 2021 census. Like I want to calculate the net migration of people from 2001 to 2011 because we have two censuses, earlier census 2001 as well as 2011. So P1 population of later census means 2011 census, whereas PO is nothing but the population at earlier census. That means 2001 census. P1 is the earlier and later one, and PO is the earlier census. So population. So P1 minus PO in bracket minus B minus D. B is nothing but the number of births, and D represents the number of deaths during these two census like between the two periods between 2001 and 2011. What was the birth rate and death rate? By using this formula, we can calculate the vital statistics, my dear friends. Then we'll go for the survival rate method. For getting the age-sex distribution of net migration, the survival ratio method is appropriate. For this method, we need age and sex distribution of population between two censuses or two census reports. Just like we said, 2001 census and 2011 census, we need to have the data of the age distribution as well as the sex distribution of population. So here we also see the net migration is equal to population during 2011 minus the population during 2001. The population during the census is categorized into two specific age groups, like 0 to 4 years, 5 to 9 years, net migration, like, and so on. So we are going to take the age groups and we are going to see what is the difference between these two census reports, my dear friends. Now let us go for the theories of migration. In your book, they have mentioned two theories. One is the push and pull theory of migration, and the other one is Duncan's theory of migration. The first one is push and pull theory of migration. The traditional migration theory is based on pull and push factors related to the point of origin and destination, respectively. According to this push and pull theory, potential migrants face one set of factors which are going to push them to move away from the current residence to another, whereas there are certain factors which are going to attract them, which are going to pull them towards the particular society. This idea was first put forward by Ravenstein, who analyzed migration in England using the data of 1881 census of England and Wales. He concluded that the pull factors were more important than the push factors, my dear friends. Now let us see the push. What are the push factors like? The decline of natural resources, because we are going on digging the mines, goals, everything. So a day may come where the natural resources will be exhausted. Exhaustion of mines, timber, or agriculture resources. The next one is loss of employment due to incompetency or no demand for a particular activity, or excessive use of mechanization and so on. That obviously what happens, there'll be loss of employment. So people may move from one place to the other place in search of employment opportunities. The third one is unemployment and underemployment. Fourth one is poverty. The next one is physical calamities like earthquake, floods, famines, droughts, and so on. Then we have epidemics. Then we have oppressive and discriminatory treatment of a section of population because of political, religious, or ethnic reasons, and so on. Then we also have alienation of people from a community because of prevailing beliefs, customs, and so on, or political upheavals. So these are the push factors, my dear friends. Besides this, we also have pull factors which are going to motivate the people to migrate from the place of residence to the other places. So what are these? The first one is we have plenty of opportunities, superior opportunities for employment in one's occupation. For example, if you see if any person is looking towards software industry, they prefer to migrate to Bangalore because Bangalore, we call it Bangalore as the Silicon Valley of India, where we have plenty of software industries. It also has a lot of opportunities, openings like. So people who aspire, they may migrate to Bangalore, then coming to Hyderabad, my dear friends. So here, when we have superior opportunities for employment or one's occupation, people may migrate from one place to the preferred place, my dear friends. Second one is when people are going to migrate. If you see right now, majority of the population in India are migrating to United States of America, United Kingdom, then Australia, and so on. Do you know why? Because they have the opportunity to have higher incomes. Here they work for at least, even if they do a layman's work or even they work in the stores, or if they work in the petrol bunks, or if they work as a pizza delivery boys, like they'll be earning around $10 per hour. So if they are going to work for 8 hours, then they'll be earning around $80, maximum of $100 per day. So $100 right now, the currency has been, if you are going to convert that into Indian currency, then it becomes $100 into approximately say 80 rupees also, it becomes 8,000 rupees. So that means if the person is going to work effectively across the month, he makes at least 2 lakh rupees to 3 lakh rupees per month, where it is not possible working in a petrol bunk in India. So when people are going to get higher opportunities to earn more income, more money, so at the time people may migrate to the other countries. And then we also have opportunities to obtain designed specialized education or training. If we talk about psychology, then we ask the people to go to America, or else if in India, then we ask them to go to Bangalore, like, or some premier institutes like. So when we are going to migrate to the places for higher education or specializations, that may be one of the reason. Then the next one is preferable environment, like living conditions, climatic conditions, housing, schools, and other community facilities. Then we also have dependency movement of other persons to whom one is related. For example, a lady has got married to a boy who is working in America. So obviously, after the wedding, the girl will also be moving or shifting along with the husband. So we call it as dependency movement, my dear friends. So along with the breadwinner, my dear friends, even the other family members also join them. So we call them as dependency movement. And we also have attempt of new or different activities, environments of people such as culture, intellectual or recreational activities. This may also attract the people. So these are the few factors which are going to attract the people to leave their place and move to the other places, my dear friends. So migration cannot be contributed or attributed only to either push or pull factors, my dear friends. There is an inevitable mix of both push as well as pull factors which are going to lead to this migration. It can be inferred that migration, both whether moving from our country to the other country or people coming from other country into our country, takes place due to the adjustments made by the people to their social, economical changes taking place during that point of time. And we also see that within our country also, there'll be migration between the people from rural areas to that of the urban areas just because of this pull and push factors. It is because of expanding employment opportunities. People, I hail from a village. All the way I came to Hyderabad in 2001, expecting that I will have better opportunities if I work, if I study at Usmania University way back in 2001, 2 decades back. And later on, after coming here, I also got the employment opportunity, and right now I'm working here. So expanding employment opportunities for skilled and semi-skilled workers in the urban areas, particularly in the informal sector, also led the people to migrate from the rural areas to the urban areas. So here we have people, we require people at the construction site, we require watchmen, security guard, washermen, tiler, and so on. So these employment opportunities have attracted the semi-skilled and the skilled people to migrate from the rural areas to that of the urban areas. Then the declining income levels due to overcrowding on agricultural land. If we see, according to 2011 census, my dear friends, 57% of the total population even now directly depend on agriculture, plus 10% indirectly on agriculture. So right now, almost two-thirds of the Indian population depend on agriculture. The size holdings are coming down. The number of small uh, landholders are increasing like anything, or the number of people who do not have land at all is increasing like anything, forcing the people to migrate to the nearby towns in search of jobs, my dear friends. Then in some areas, we also have low rainfalls, droughts, crop failure, low agriculture productivity, and there is no demand for or less selling price for the products. This may also motivate the people to migrate to the nearby towns or cities. The failure of traditional crafts and professions also cannot provide adequate means of livelihood. So this may force the people to migrate to the nearby towns. So here we may have outward migration. Illiteracy among the rural population is not a bar to migration, remember. The developments in the field of transportation, communication has also led the rural, irrespective of their literacy levels, to migrate from one place to the other place. So they may come and work as an unskilled labor or a semi-skilled labor, but even the illiterate people are migrating from one place to the other place. Now, this about the push and pull factors theory. Now, let us go for Duncan's theory of migration. Duncan, in his book, The Theory and Consequences of Mobility of Farm Population, has represented a theory regarding the mobility of population, especially engaged in agriculture. This theory is a combination of microscopic as well as macroscopic active forces in the process of migration. He talked about various factors which contribute for migration. The first one is economic and technical causes. He tried to relate the changes occurring in the technique of production, in methods and structure of agricultural operation. For example, if we see in the traditional societies, my dear friends, we used to use animal power and manpower for doing the agriculture work. But right now, we can see that a lot of people are using tractors for tilling the soil. They are using a lot of mechanics. They are using the drones to put on the fertilizers and chemicals for the crop. So it is going to reduce the usage of animal power as well as human power. And even at the time of harvesting, we have seen a lot of new machines coming, huge machines coming up. They are going to cut down the crop. They are going to separate the grass from the grains and so on. And you can see the process being mechanized. So obviously, when the economical activity is going to employ a lot of technical techniques of production, if they are going to use a lot of techniques of mechanization in terms of operations, at that time, what happens? The people will be forced to migrate from the place because agriculture sector no more provides employment for them. So for that reason, they may migrate. The second one is social costs. Uh, the social causes or the development of institutional structure, policies regarding public land, protection, development of transport and communication systems, population growth, increase in knowledge and its expansion, class conflicts and competition, disarrangement coming in social degradation and structure of administration, changing needs of maintenance of the family, and so on. All this can become the social causes because there is plenty of development in transport and communication. People are knowing what is happening across the world, and they also know what kind of employment opportunities are waiting for them, and they are ready to utilize the opportunities. So, because the awareness is increasing, people are having communication, people are moving from one place to the other place. Along with that, the policies are also going to help. Recently, that in the Telangana state, the government did not to encourage scheduled caste and scheduled tribe population who aspire to go abroad and pursue their higher education. The government has designed a policy wherein they are going to provide them 20 lakh rupees so that they can pay the fees and migrate to the nearby countries of their aspiration of dream, and they can pursue their higher education. So the policies are also going, may also motivate the people to stay or to migrate to one place, from one place to the other place. The third one is personal causes. If a person is unsatisfied, if a person is not in a position to satisfy his needs, he may migrate from one place to the other place because the system may not allow him. Because if you see in the traditional Indian society where the caste system is prevalent, it did not allow the people to change from one occupation to the other occupation. So residing there in the geographical area, they have to abide to the set of rules and regulations which are determined by that particular community or society. So in order to move away from the shackles of this, not to move away from this, people may wish to move from that community to the other place so that these restrictions will not stop them from satisfying their needs, my dear friends. The next one is if there is an increase in the intelligence of the persons, expanding horizons of knowledge, and if they want to, if they have health problems, in order to get the treatment, people may migrate to the other countries where we have best health facilities. Then emotions of alienation, that people are not simply kicking us out. So we do not have proper imagination power. So and so, my dear friends. So there are a lot of reasons. For example, if you see, all of you must have heard about Tata's company. Do you know actually they belong to Parsi community? They're not the natives of India. Actually, long back, those people have migrated from Iran because there was some religious conflicts, ethnic conflicts, my dear friends. So all the way, these people took their families, left all their belongings there, and came to India and settled in India, my dear friends. It is because of the issues. So they have, if they want, they can change the faith and they can change, stay there, but their emotions did not. Um, their religion or their belief system did not allow them to uh, accept the religion. So they simply migrated from that place and they came to India and they settled here. So there may be plenty of personal causes which may motivate the people to migrate from the place of residence to the other one. Then the fourth one, according to this theory, is the natural causes, like we have droughts, floods, earthquakes, diseases, and so on, my dear friends. And the last one is we have like labor problems, strikes, increase in real wealth, the search for new means or ending up of the supply of old resources, and so on. These also can motivate the people to migrate. So Duncan has said that these are the major factors which are responsible for migration. Now let us study about the significance of the study of migration, my dear friends. Along with fertility and mortality, migration forms an important component of population change. To quantify the population change and understand the growth rate, my dear friends, migration statistics are very, very important. The population change is measured as the population at any point of time is equal to the population at an earlier point of time plus birth minus death plus movement of people into the area minus movement of people outside the country. Already we have seen this. P2 is equal to P1 plus D minus D plus MI minus MO, where P2 is the population at the present time, where P1 is the population previously, B is nothing but birth, D is death, MI is migration inward and movement of people MO outside. Using this formula, we can find the population change, my dear friends. If we see in India, my dear friends, migration is not a new concept. It has been an age-old concept. People are migrating from one place to the other place. So if we see, after the partition of India, there was a large scale of migration of Hindus from Pakistan and Muslims to and from Pakistan to India, whereas Muslims from India to Pakistan. Between 1941 and 1951, the increase in population over was 14.1%. According to 2011 census, my dear friends, 37% of the people were enumerated at places other than the place of birth. That means 37% of the Indian population have migrated. For example, I have been born in Varangal and I have migrated and I'm staying in Hyderabad. It may be internal migration. It may be migration from one country to the other country, my dear friends. So they may have moved to small distances. According to 2011 census, UP and Bihar are responsible for the most number of migrants, which is almost 20.9 million people have migrated from these two states, my dear friends. This is 37% of the total number of people who were interstate migrants according to the enumeration. Delhi and Mumbai are widely considered migrant magnets, and the 2011 census bear, says that. According to 2011 census, Mumbai and Delhi, okay, they numbered around 9.9 million. Combined together, it is 29.2 million, my dear friends. If we see the migration from our country to the other country, we can see there are different trends, my dear friends. The educated people are moving towards United States of America, UK, Russia, and England, and so on. Whereas the people who are unskilled or people who are semi-skilled, they are looking towards Arab countries or UAE countries, my dear friends. If we see within the country, my dear friends, one half of the male in are migrating from rural to rural communities, and most of the people are coming from the backward states like UP, Bihar, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan because it's not going to provide them best opportunities. And from the underdeveloped states like Rajasthan, UP, Bihar, AP, and Kerala, out migration is taking lot, my dear friends. They are moving from one place to the other place. So in this lesson, we have studied about migration. We have studied about the causes for migration. We have studied about two theories of migration, my dear friends. We'll end the lecture here, beta, and we'll continue the lecture tomorrow. If there are any doubts, my dear friends, you can contact me. We'll go for block 4. Have a nice day.